my name is Cassie and welcome to my channel. This is going to be my tentative July TBR. I kind of had a bit of a slump last month. The beginning of the month I was much more interested in fan fiction than I was anything else. And then I think I read 3 books, started a 4th, that didn't go well, tried to start a different one, and I think I'm sitting on that one right now. What is today? The 26th. I'm sitting at probably around 30% in the book that I'm reading right now. So, and I've been reading it for a couple of days. I want to say like 2-3 days now. So I'm not really sure how many more books I'm going to be reading before the 30th or before the 1st. I've only got 4 days left of the month. I might pull something out of my hat and somehow read like another 3 or 4 books. I don't know. But right now, yeah, I had a bit of a slumpy month in June. So some of the books that were on my June TBR that was tentative and, you know, with the readathon and everything going on, are gonna be moving from June to July. So some of these books are probably going to look very familiar. But let's go ahead and get into it. So the first one that I kind of wanted to read, hopefully in the beginning of the month, I borrowed it from Libby and I have 8 days left. And that is The One by John Mars. So I read The Passengers by him, which I think takes place in the same world as this one, but I didn't know that there was like an order to these books in a way. And I think this one is the first one in the world that The Passengers is in. So I kind of want to read this. I do know that there is a Netflix show about this now. It's about being able to take a simple DNA test to find yourself matched with your perfect partner, the one you're genetically made for. And you know, this kind of goes into, I think, the whole realm of, well, what if you have 2 people that are in a relationship, you take the test and you find out you're not each other's match or something, or what if you're married and you decide to get this test when it comes out and you find out that your wife is not your match or whatever. And so I think there's going to be a lot of not controversy, I don't think that's the right word, but there's going to be a lot of drama, I think, in this when it comes to that. And yeah, you know, it is also like it's John Mars, so you know it's going to be like a thriller mystery type situation as well. So I'm really looking forward to reading this. So hopefully I will get to this in the beginning of July, if not the end of June. We'll find out. Okay, Not in Love by Ali Hazelwood. This was on my TBR last month. You know, except I don't think I had a physical copy. I had a iPad picture. Obviously did not get to it. Really want to get to it. Hopefully in July. July will be the month. But it is about Rue, who is a biotech engineer at Klein, which is one of the most promising startups in the field of food science. And then there's a hostile takeover that's trying to happen in this book. And the face of that, the offensive, attractive front man, is Ellie Kilgore, and you know, his business partners want Klein. Period. So I'm imagining there's something going on between, there's gonna be something between Rue and Eli, and it's gonna be great, and I'm gonna love it. Next is Leather and Lark by Bryony Weaver, and it is the second book in the Ruinous Love trilogy. The first one is Butcher and Blackbird, which is, I think the whole trilogy is kind of like a serial killer type romance, so it's definitely on the darker side of the romance spectrum, but I still really enjoyed Butcher and Blackbird, so I really want to get to this one. This is following the older brother of the brother in Butcher and Blackbird and the best friend of the main female character in Butcher and Blackbird. So you meet them briefly in the first book, and then this is where things, I guess, are going to just... So I'm excited for it. I'm here for it. I want it. I'm going to read it, hopefully, in July. A book that I'm a little surprised, well, I'm not really surprised that I didn't get to it, because it doesn't really fit the prompt that I'm trying to read for at the moment. But that is Middle of the Night by Riley Sager. So I'm really excited about this book. I've read a few books by him now, and I really enjoy his writing and his stories. I usually give like 4 stars, if not 5 stars. And I'm pretty sure, you know, this was on the June tentative TBR as well, but we know how that went. Let's not get into it. But it says, the worst thing to ever happen on Hemlock Circle occurred in Ethan Marsh's backyard. One July night, 10-year-old Ethan and his best friend and neighbor Billy fell asleep in a tent set up on a manicured lawn in a quiet, quaint New Jersey cul-de-sac. In the morning, Ethan woke up alone. During the night, someone had sliced the tent open with a knife and taken Billy. He was never seen again. 30 years later, Ethan has reluctantly returned to his childhood home. Plagued by bad dreams and insomnia, he begins to notice strange things happening in the middle of the night. Someone seems to be roaming the cul-de-sac at odd hours, and signs of Billy's presence keep appearing in Ethan's backyard. Is someone playing a cruel prank, or has Billy, long thought to be dead, somehow returned to Hemlock Circle? The mysterious occurrences prompt Ethan to investigate what really happened that night, a quest that reunites him with former friends and neighbors and leads him into the woods that surround Hemlock Circle, woods where Billy claimed ghosts roamed and where a mysterious institute does clandestine research on a crumbling estate. The closer Ethan gets to the truth, the more he realizes that no place, be it quiet forest or suburban street, is completely safe, and that the past has a way of haunting the present. I really want to get to this in July. I'm going to get to this in July. So, Middle of the Night by Riley Sager. How to Make a Horror Movie and Survive by Craig DeLuey. I read 13 Ghosts by him, and I think I gave it like a 3.5, 4 stars, somewhere around there. So I enjoyed it. I had questions, of course, that will never be answered, I don't think, but I still enjoyed it. So I really would like to read this one as well, especially because it has to do with horror movies. What's not exciting about that? So there is a movie maker, you know, he's a famous horror director. His name is Max. And he wants to make a real horror movie, because I guess the horror films that he makes just, you know, they're cheap slashers. And he wants, you know, a real horror movie. And so he finds a camera that filmed a real Hollywood horror, and he wants to use this camera to film his next movie. The only problems are that it came with a cryptic warning, and sometimes it howls. Kind of wondering how that's gonna work out. Yeah. But anyway, so by the time he discovers the true evil lying within, he's already dead set on finishing the scariest movie ever put to film. So I really want to read this. I think it's going to be really good. And then a book that I may or may not get to. I mean, I'm definitely interested. I would like to read it in July, but we're gonna see how that goes. And that is The Deer and the Dragon by Piper C.J. The deities you call aren't always the ones who answer. Marlowe needs to believe she's crazy. The alternative would mean embracing the gift or curse shared by her mother and grandmother. She can see angels and demons, including a dark and haunting entity who's been with Marlowe her entire life. At least, she believes that's all he is until a fae from the Nordic pantheon strolls into her life and informs her that she's been sharing a bed with the Prince of Hell, a prince who's now gone missing. Before she knows it, Marlowe is deeply entangled in a centuries-old war, stumbling straight into a battleground between mighty beings of myth and legend from powerful pantheons around the world. And who will come out on top may just depend on her and the love she never dared to believe in. So, I'm interested. I've watched some of her Instagram reels, and this, like, what she says in the reels, what's on the back of the book, definitely has caught my interest, and I think I would like to try to get to this in July. But we'll see how that goes. So those are the books that I have on my tentative July TBR. Whether I get to those specific books, I really hope I do, because I really want to read all of those books. Or if I go off script, we'll find out. Maybe I'll read all these books and then I'll read, like, I don't know, a whole bunch more. I want to say, like, 4 months of this year so far, I read like somewhere around 9 or 10 books for those months. There's only been 2 months where I've only read like 4 or 5, so we'll see how many books I read in July. And then of course there's also the every Romantasy challenge that I'm supposed to be reading for in June, July, and August. Ask me where I've gotten on that in June. Yeah, no, I haven't read. I didn't read a Romantasy in June yet. I mean, there's still the possibility, but yeah, we'll see. So, I really should probably try to put some Romantasy books in my July TBR, tentative TBR. But the only one I really have interest in right now is I think The Deer and the Dragon is the only Romantasy book on my tentative July TBR. So we'll just have to see how July goes. But anyway, any books you're planning to read in July, let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, like it, and if you want to see more by me, subscribe. Until next time, bye!